Right. Hello, and the warmest of welcomes to episode 9 of Not If, But When, the podcast which answers all of the questions you've ever had about all things funeral, and many of the ones which may never have even occurred to you. My name is Lyndsey Conquest. I'm an independent celebrant and I'm based in Bedfordshire.
And I'm Kirstie Atherton, also an independent celebrant, but based in the northwest of England. Welcome to episode 9, Going Out in Style. It is time today, my friends, to talk transport. So I'm just going to segue us in seamlessly here into today's topic, Lyndsey, and I am going to disclose two things that I find especially life affirming when I see them at a funeral. One of these is a piper, and the other one is a horse-drawn hearse. Thoughts?
Yeah, I have to agree with you completely. They would be top of my list. The Piper just oh, I just love it. I absolutely love it. Love the sound, the way it echoes across the whole sort of car park, the grounds of the
Oh,
crematorium or wherever you are. And
yeah.
it's
It's so
just,
special, isn't it?
yeah, just amazing. And I've had a family actually last week who couldn't get a piper. So we had a lone piper recording played on the outside speakers,
Oh,
which
nice.
wasn't quite the same, but it was still
Next
lovely.
best
It's just
thing.
that sound, isn't it?
I don't,
And
what is it?
then
What is it about it that's so,
I
it
d
just like speaks to something that you
yeah,
can't explain, doesn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, it does. It's really, yeah, really special and yeah, really, really lovely. And then
Yeah.
horse-drawn hearses, love them. But I
Mm.
always loved horses. I've had horses in my younger years, and to see them sort of, parading sort of at the front of a funeral
Mm.
procession, and to that
Mm.
person going out in true style in whatever,
Yeah.
from you've probably seen lots of differences from white horses carrying sort of
Mm.
almost like the glass type carriage
Yeah.
to farmer type drays,
Yeah.
being pulled by shire horses, which is something we had last week as well at the
Oh,
Prem. So
yeah.
beautiful, beautiful to
Yeah.
see.
They're a funny thing for me in the sense that before I did this for a job, I just didn't really get it. I thought, well, actually, I think I thought, well, that's a bit over the top. I think that's what I
Mm.
thought about them. But then the first time I actually saw someone have one, is sort of in a work related situation, I just immediately thought, what? Yeah, obviously, it's just
Yeah.
there's something just quite majestic about it, but also really quite gentle, I feel.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it's like
Definitely.
quite peaceful and slow,
Yeah.
isn't it? And yeah, I love them. Absolutely love them.
I do.
You're
I just think, like, for me, I still just feel there needs to be a personal reason for choosing them, or choosing anything like that,
yeah,
rather than just, oh, let's just have that. Like, years and years and years ago, people would maybe have it because it was the best. They might have a horse-drawn
yeah.
carriage, but now I just think to have it just because there's sort of personal reasons for that,
Mm,
especially with the piper as well. But
mm.
you know, I
So
I
here's a
think, yeah.
controversial thing. Should you only have a horse-drawn hearse if you are a horse type person? And should you only have a piper if you are Scottish or Irish? Hmm.
Ooh, ooh. Now there's a
I
question
know.
that I'm not sure I should answer on my personal opinion on that one,
No,
because
I know
I'd hate people to
I'm
be
throwing the
offended
cap in,
by
aren't
how
I?
I feel. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
sort of, although I've had funerals for people who were Scottish and very proud of their Scottish roots, who have had
yeah,
a Scottish piper, but I've also had somebody that just loved the sound
yeah,
of
yeah,
the bagpipes.
yeah.
I don't sort of see that you would have a bagpiper unless there was a reason for it, but I don't think it needs to be because you are of Scottish or Irish
Mm.
descent, or
No, neither do I. I think, yeah, if it just feels fitting, if it just feels right,
yeah,
yeah, that's what
yeah,
I think too.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. So obviously we've got, well, I'm saying obviously, maybe people don't know this. You have got loads of options when it comes to how you're going to transport a coffin, a deceased person, how you're going to
yeah,
transport them to the place where you're going to do this, the disposal. So the traditional thing, obviously, that everybody will recognise would be a black hearse, wouldn't it? A black
Yeah.
motorised hearse.
Mhm.
Which again, you know, I I kind of like about them is how much the people who own them and operate them, how much they love and respect that they put into what it looks like.
Yeah,
I think that's a really nice thing about them. They're
definitely.
always immaculate, aren't they? And just
Yeah.
polished within an inch of their lives. And
Yeah.
yeah, I love that about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are your thoughts about the traditional, going for just a traditional black hearse?
Yeah, I
I,
like them. I think they're lovely, and I think I agree with you that they're always well looked after. And one of the
mm,
independents I work with here, they've just got a brand new fleet of hearses and limousines, and oh,
oh,
they are snazzy, they are beautiful,
snazzy.
and yeah, they really are. Honestly, they do make an impact without being over the top or anything. They're still very, classic.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
they are lovely, and I think, they still get that attention, and people still sort of, I still think or see people still paying their respects when they see a hearse go past them, or just
yeah,
stopping and standing. I'd like to see more of that. Not everyone does it, but I
yeah. It is
think
a
to
nice thing,
see,
isn't it?
yeah, but
Mm,
I like the traditional hearse, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I do too. Yeah, I do think that they're lovely, and the good thing is that generally speaking, that will be when, particularly when finances come into it, that will be kind of your sort of bog standard option, won't it? And it is a
yeah,
really nice option. You know, it's a really good thing.
yeah.
Um, yeah, what like the independent that I do most of my work for, they have a black hearse, which is gorgeous and immaculate. But we have also used a hired in cream hearse that has cream limos
Oh,
to go with it. Oh, it's really nice. It's
yeah,
so lovely.
sounds
And
it.
yeah, and the interior is gorgeous. It's yeah, and they're always just dead well loved, aren't they? Anyway, and
Yeah,
so where do we
yeah.
stand on the old quirky hearse then? So the thing that looks like a traditional hearse in shape, but is not just plain black. Any thoughts on those?
Oh, well, do you know what? I haven't had the opportunity to see loads of these in the workplace.
I
Seen
think
a
they're
lot
unusual.
online, but
Yeah.
yeah, you don't see a
Yeah.
lot of them, do you? I have seen a leopard print one, photos of, and I think you may have shared that. Now I'm thinking about it. Did you?
It sounds like it might be me. Yes, I definitely did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've shared
I
the
think it
leopard
was
one.
you.
I've shared the rainbow one.
Yeah.
Locally to me, you can hire a Liverpool Football Club one or an Everton Football Club one. Yeah, so and similar to you, I've not seen them. I've not had a funeral where somebody has actually used one of those, but they are available. Um, yeah, what do I think about them? I think, yeah, whatever. I think if that suits you, there are people who a leopard print hearse would be the only option for. And I think if you are that person,
Definitely.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. If you lived your life like, thinking out the box, being quite eccentric, if your style and
I
your
don't know who you're
fashion and
referring to.
everything, I know, who am I thinking of? But then, yeah, what would it be right to see you have your final journey in a traditional black hearse? Probably not. So if
Yeah.
finances allow and if the options are there, then why not? Why wouldn't you? And
Yeah.
it just is down to cost, isn't it, with a lot of these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, it
So
is. Yeah, because they're quirky, they're unique. There probably might only be one in the country, for example. So you are paying for it to be transported from where it is.
yeah.
And so it is an extra cost. But I'm thinking of things like, and I have had a few of these, like the Land Rover hearses.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like the motorbike one, the motorbike and sidecar ones. I'm
Yeah.
thinking also about one we had not long ago, which was absolutely gorgeous. And it was a restored old black Hackney cab. And it was
Oh,
absolutely gorgeous. It was beautiful. And the coffin went in the back, and there was space for one of the flip down seats had been kept in. So somebody
oh,
could accompany
amazing.
in the back. It was beautiful. It was absolutely
Oh,
gorgeous.
yeah, it
It was really
sounds
lovely.
it.
And yeah, they do come with additional costs, obviously. But if your person was, you know, crackers on motorbikes, but really could not have cared
Yeah,
less about flowers. It's what you put your money into, isn't it, really?
definitely. Yeah,
Maybe
it's
there's no
choosing.
point in doing florals for that person, but they would have loved maybe the motorbike hearse,
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think it's, yeah, just about adding that personal touch. And if, cars, vehicles, motorbikes, and whatever else, Land Rovers, and you've also got the only little fools and horses. What is that vehicle? Is it a corgi something, isn't it? That little yellow thing.
Is it a
It
Reliant Robin, the
maybe,
three-wheeler
yeah, or
thing?
maybe it
Yeah,
is, yeah.
yeah. No, there is.
But there's
Yeah,
one
we
of
need to
those,
put a
isn't
link up for that,
there?
don't we?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because there's that video that's been shared loads with the Only Fools and Horses fan that had them, and they had
yeah.
the characters running along in costume, didn't they? Have you seen that? Oh my God, it's amazing. I'll find it and
Okay,
try and put a link up. But yeah,
marvelous.
so there's some brilliant options out there, and we saw some at the National Funeral Exhibition,
Oh,
didn't
we
we?
did. We
The
did.
bike one, and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
the motorbikes and
Yeah, they're
various
great, aren't they?
others.
One that I really like is there's a company not too far from me, kind of North Midlands, who have loads of different vehicles. And one of the things that they have is a lorry. So it's the
Mm,
front cab of a lorry, and it's black, and then the kind of flatbed bit at the back has been
yeah,
shortened so
yeah.
that it's not very long, and you put the coffin on that and it's open, but it has like a sort of structure over the top. And people can, once they get onto the grounds at the cemetery going into the crematorium, people can sit on the back of it
Oh
the
wow,
coffin.
okay.
Yeah, and that's really nice. I've seen a couple of
Yeah.
tractor ones like that as well, where you can sit on the
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, I've seen a tractor.
Yeah, I think
Else
it's
have
just
we had?
something to remember, isn't it?
Yeah, we had, going back to sort of the horses that we spoke
Mm.
about, but I think I posted a photo about a week ago. So I turned up at the crematorium and saw two beautiful Shire
I
horses
saw
in
the
the car
pictures.
park, and
Yeah.
they had been pulling a sort of an old, I'm sure it's called a dray. It's like the flatbed
Yeah, that they used to
carriage.
deliver like beer
Yeah,
barrels on.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it
Because
is a
this
dray. Yeah,
this man was like from a farming background, and they'd
lovely.
there's a whole a really sort of emotional story to that one, because everyone arrived in their wedding guest outfits, because they were due to get
Oh,
married, and
oh,
unfortunately he didn't survive long enough for the wedding, but they had the same celebrant who was going to perform their wedding ceremony,
oh,
who did the
lovely.
funeral service, and they
Yeah.
had these Shire horses, which I think were booked for the wedding as well.
Oh,
But
wow.
they opted for this dray, and the Shire horses pulled the dray with the
Oh,
coffin on place. So
that's
stunning,
lovely.
stunning. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do really like that. And yeah, and I think it's just a case, like we always say, there are options. You can always ask any funeral director about these.
Yeah.
And they are options that, it's not like, well, my funeral director doesn't own one of those. They are
Mm,
hired in, aren't they, from
yeah.
outside
Yeah.
contractors. So they are available and accessible to anybody, obviously, with the cost implication in mind. I
Yeah.
feel like the non-motorized options are really lovely. And like you
Hmm.
say, we saw the actual pedal cycle, didn't we? The bicycle
Yes.
one we saw.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I think there's something really moving about somebody being transported in a non-motorized way. I think that's lovely.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the kind of natural burial grounds, woodland burial grounds, have those types of transportations on site, so that somebody
Yeah.
might arrive there in a hearse, but then when you actually then get onto the grounds and you're actually being transported to the burial plot, or
Yeah.
yeah, or to the part of the woodland or whatever, that they're transported then on carts, which sometimes are
Or
pulled
yeah,
by
like
people and sometimes
yeah.
by animals. And
Mhm.
I just think that's really lovely, but I don't know why I do. I
No,
don't know whether it
no,
just
I agree though. And I think it's more fitting, especially for a natural burial ground, to see them with the wagons or carts, and being
really lovely.
transported that way. I think I might put down on my wishes to have a cycle hearse and for you to actually be the one that cycles it. It's just an
Well,
idea. I've just popped into my head and I thought, "Do you know what? I might add that in your
well, you
sequence."
know I will honour your wishes.
Thank
I
you.
can't guarantee I won't topple over though and drop you off the side on the floor. Unless we could have a tandem one and maybe sort of a family member could
You
help me
might need
with
it
that.
unless I stop eating so much cake. So then you might need the
Oh, I
tandem.
wasn't meaning we'd topple over because you'd be heavy, just because
No,
I'd be
I
so
know.
crap
I'm just
at
I'm adding
steering
that
it.
in. To be fair, it might be a struggle.
Oh, yeah, they are lovely, aren't they? That's put me in mind the other
Yeah.
day. I was talking to a family doing their funeral arrangements, and we got off the topic, as I'm sure you do a lot of the time.
Mm.
And the lady said to me, and I just thought it was the most adorable little slip of the tongue. She said, "Oh, look at us two. We both went off on a tandem there, didn't we?" I just thought it was really sweet. Just to throw that in as we're talking bikes.
Yes, lovely.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
have we mentioned that you can actually just have your own car if you wanted? You could
We've
have
not,
your
and
yeah.
whenever I say that to anybody, if I'm doing a talk or whatever, and I say to people, there's no requirement for the coffin to be transported in any particular way, people are astonished. They
Yeah.
think you have to have a hearse. They think you have to have some kind of formal transportation provided by
Mm,
someone in the industry, and you absolutely do not.
no.
Now, I'm not sure how this would be reacted to, but there is, as far as I'm aware, no reason why you couldn't take a coffin on a bus. I don't
No.
think there is actually any reason why
You
you
might get a
couldn't.
few funny looks though,
Yeah, why
Kirsty.
you would is a whole other question,
And
obviously.
all the funeral directors we work with are now sitting there going, "Oh my God, we're going to start seeing families take their coffins on the bus."
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Maybe wouldn't,
I would
yeah.
say it's not a good idea because they're
No.
heavy, apart from anything else. And really, and funeral directors, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's a
They
reason
do,
why we
they
use them.
do,
It
they
is not
do.
their first rodeo. So yeah, but I know that one of the woodland burial grounds close to me, they they have like a little tally going unofficially of what is the smallest vehicle that anyone's ever turned up in with a coffin in the back of. And
Right.
and last time I spoke to somebody from there, I think their record was like a Peugeot 205,
Oh
which is
my
quite a
God,
small car.
really?
Yeah, but I suppose if you put the seats down in the front and
Yeah.
there's just a driver, don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can use your own car. You can
Yeah.
transport in any way that you want, as long as you're
Yeah.
doing it, in a respectful and dignified way.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably not a great idea to take it on the bus. I'm
No.
thinking as well, what would you charge an extra full adult fare for that, or would it be
I'm
just as if you were
not
taking
sure.
on a
Maybe
big
we'll
load
have
of
to ask the
shopping?
question.
Yeah, I'm interested to know now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
whilst it is possible, neither of us are recommending it
We
because
are
there are
not recommending it. That is, yeah, we will put that disclaimer out there right now.
yeah, there are things best left to the professionals. They know what they're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, you
Yeah.
don't have to have that big formal arrival because,
No?
I do have some services where the coffin has been taken to the venue or the crematorium
Yeah.
or wherever it is and is in place, and that big transport, the arrival in a
Mm.
hearse or whatever else hasn't actually taken place.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
coffin will have been taken there by the funeral director in one of probably their other vehicles, private ambulance
Yeah.
or their hearse separately without that traditional
Yeah.
arrival.
Yeah. And I think, as we always say, if that does happen, if that's what you do opt for, funeral directors know what they're doing,
Yeah,
and I know there's controversy, and I know there's been horrible cases, but 99.999% of them absolutely behave when no one's there, as they would when people are watching. So I wouldn't
definitely.
have any concerns, particularly with the independents I work with. I wouldn't have any concern. They would be
No.
treating that person with the absolute utmost
Yeah,
dignity,
same
whether
here.
someone was there
Yeah.
or not, absolutely. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's worth bearing in mind, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have to say though that the independent I do most of my work with deliberately uses an entrance to the crematorium grounds that other funeral directors don't. She goes in a particular entrance, which means that the hearse is paged in on the long drive rather than the short. So there is
Right.
all that time for the procession, what I used to think of as the theatrics and now I think of as the ritual, that
Yeah.
respectful ritual of we've driven here slowly, I'm getting out of the car, maybe with family members, not me, the funeral director, maybe with
Yeah.
family members as well, and we are paging them in,
Yeah.
and that's lovely. That's a really
Yeah.
nice part for me personally. I
Yeah.
like that.
I do
But not for
too.
everybody, not for
No,
everybody at all.
no.
And as we always say, we do it all the time, don't we? There are a whole wide world of options, and there will be one to suit you.
Yeah.
You don't have to opt for the standard, but if you want to absolutely, it's just finding the right thing for you, isn't it? For your budget, for your tastes, for your expectation. Yeah, it's just that case of having to think about it, thinking outside the box again.
100%. Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, so it's been lovely having you listen to us again. Next week, you will hear a slight change to Not If But When's usual formats. Oh, it's
This sounds
exciting. I
exciting.
know. We are mixing things up a little bit in honour of Dying Matters Awareness Week. So, Kirstie, come on, what do we have in store for everybody?
Well, I'm going to say a treat. I hope people think it's a treat.
Yeah.
What we're actually going to do for Dying Matters Week is we're going to go on a deep dive into our own personal funeral wishes. So we spend enough time banging on about people making their wishes clear. So we've decided to bear ours to you all in a series of daily mini pods. So they're just little short ones that will be released Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And they will culminate into a big, fat, normal length Friday episode, which we are going to focus on this year's focus of Dying Matters Week, which is language. Which again, as you will expect, we have opinions on. So we're going to have a lovely week building up to that, where we're going to chat about music and readings and all the lovely choices that we have made for our own funeral wishes, which we have both done. Yeah, and then we're going to have a great big fat rant at the end of the week about all the language which lingers around death and dying and funerals and grief, and why we believe, and Dying Matters believe also, that we need to frankly think a little bit more about the words that we choose when we're discussing these things.
Absolutely. Yeah. We are bursting to get that episode out to you. It's something that's really important to us. And I think it's one of the main topics we had in our heads to discuss right at the beginning of starting the podcast, isn't it? So,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
lots of opportunities to hear more funeral chat from us both in the week ahead. Until then, why not go out and embrace your one wild and precious life by also embracing the inevitable. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.